drive back the protesters who lobbed stones at the police. One of the two victims was a young man in his 30s knocked down by a truck. Dozens of others were injured.
These elections won't be held as long as Abdoulaye Wade stays on.
Thousands of people responded to an appeal from the June 23 opposition movement challenging President Wade's bid to run for a third mandate. One protester, singer and politician Youssou N'Dour was there to galvanize the crowd after his own presidential candidacy was rejected by Senegal's highest court.
We are giving ourselves for our country. He must go. He must leave. He must go this evening.
Several opposition candidates rallied in the streets with their supporters. They all say they are united against what they call a constitutional coup d'etat.
Everyone knows that Wade has no right to run again. It's not because the court validated his candidacy that we will back down. We are defending the people's rights, and we must defend the Senegalese people or die trying.
The power struggle between President Abdoulaye Wade and his critics is just starting. His opponents say the protests will continue as long as they have to. Presidential election rivals say they will run in the February 26 election, whatever happens.
China's growing influence in Africa has come with some price the global economic giant is paying. Recent abduction of Chinese expatriate workers is leaving Beijing with few options, especially in areas like Sudan's South Kordofan region. Beijing has meanwhile announced the release of 25 of its nationals who were kidnapped in Egypt. Let's look at this report for more on that.
Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs arrived in Khartoum on Tuesday to obtain the release of 20 Chinese workers in South Kordofan who were taken hostage over the weekend by rebels.
We have set up emergency mechanisms and try to work closely together with the Sudanese government to help the release and also the safety of the Chinese workers.
The Chinese nationals had been working on a road project when they were captured by the rebel group, which has admitted to holding them. The rebels say they took the hostages during an attack on Sudanese troops. So far, the group has made no demands. 17 other workers with the same company were evacuated to the capital by the Sudanese army. On Tuesday, an identical scene was played out in Egypt. 25 Chinese employed in a cement factory were taken hostage by Bedouin tribesmen. The Bedouins are demanding the release of 5 of their relatives who were imprisoned following a series of terrorist attacks on tourist sites between 2004 and 2006. On Wednesday, the Chinese government said that the workers in Egypt had all been freed. The two events highlight China's growing commercial importance in Africa and the opportunity this presents to rebel groups which may attempt to weaken political stability by driving out one of the continent's biggest trading partners.
From that, we go with another break. We'll be right back. Over to sports now. Gabonese from all walks of life turned out to watch the team's final game against Tunisia. Aside from the main events of the 2012 Nations Cup, a center known as the Manja Africa Center is built for a major meeting place expressing Gabonese culture. We have details of that story in this report.
At nightfall, this is where the heart of the Gabonese capital beats. It's been like this since the beginning of the 28th Africa Cup of Nations. We are outside the Omar Bongo Stadium, in a park where the cup games are projected on a giant screen. When the Panthers of Gabon play, there are huge crowds here. And when they win, it's pure euphoria. All the joy in the world, says this man. This woman thanks the Gabonese national team. Other than these areas where matches are shown live on giant screens with funding from commercial sponsors, the Gabonese capital also has a huge cultural center built for Africa's biggest football event. We are at the Mbanja Africa Center. Mbanja is a place for initiation, a place of encounters, where those who were already initiated get together to discuss the problems concerning them. The Mbanja Africa Center aims to promote Gabonese culture on the occasion of the Africa Cup of Nations. The site, meant for tourists, represents a Gabonese village complete with traditional dwellings. Before, traditional Gabonese homes were built with tree branches and leaves. We wanted to show that for the locals and foreigners as well, so they can discover Gabonese traditional life. The downside is that the initiative has not been very successful so far. In other words, very few people visit the center. Vendors are having a hard time selling the objects created by Gabonese artists. It seems locals and tourists alike, football fans, would rather watch the games.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. Vice President Dr. Aissatou Seydi has alluded to the strong link between agriculture and efforts to further develop the Gambia. Lawmakers are running the clock down on another 5-year legislative term with the scrutiny of the operations and financial management of public institutions and corporations. A police truck has run over one of the protesters seeking to pressure Senegalese President Abdoulaye Wade to reconsider his controversial third-term bid. And China has announced the release of 25 of its nationals who were abducted in Egypt, but over 2,000 others are still being held in Sudan's restive South Kordofan region. Well, you can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website, which is at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. Well, that's all in the news at 10. Thanks for the pleasure of your company and have a wonderful night.
QCell brings you Q Football. With Q Football, you can get up-to-the-minute updates whenever your favorite team is playing in their league or in cup competitions. With Q Football, you can get details of any match that has ended for only $1 by sending your team's name to 411. Just send your team's name by SMS to 511 and receive 1 month's worth of goals, halftime scores and full-time results of your favorite team for only $10 a month. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the only 3G plus network in the Gambia.
Musical records. Yeah, life is a ladder. All you gotta do is climb it till the day you make it. From the day that I told her I swear to God everything goes jammer. Me hotter than them, shatter than them. None of them can do it like me. Do you try? Do you buy? Definitely, yeah, the streets love me. So every everything I do I dedicated to the street.
Just Our Entertainment Center is the place to be. Friday, 3rd February 2012. Performances by the Holy Family Band. Friday, February 3rd, 2012.